When it comes to the graph's native token called GRT, am I still holding? Well, the answer to that question for me at least is yes, and that is not financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But why am I still holding? Well, it's because I still like the fundamentals of the graph, despite, I get it, $2 being around a 30x from here, but still, despite the pullback, I am still a fan of the fundamentals of the graph. And let me explain what I mean by this. If we take a look at the graph, what is it, right? It's an open source software. Now, we have to take a look at it a little bit deeper, though, because I think it does get a little bit more interesting, at least personally in my perspective. Now, if I take a look at it, again, the graph is an open source software that is used to collect, process, and store data from various blockchain applications. And this is basically to help facilitate information retrieval. Now, the primary goal of the graph, the way I view it, is to help developers use relevant data to increase the efficiency of their decentralized application. And if we consider how there's basically thousands upon thousands of decentralized applications out there, I think something like the graph, has somewhat of a utility in my perspective at least. Now, some people like to say, okay, it's not that interesting. Well, I still think it's pretty interesting because it seems like it's a project that is more reliant on the utility, not more so just on the attention and something like that, because I feel like it is a type of project that, in theory could hypothetically still have, something to do without that attention, right? Because again, it does have a use case in my perspective. Now, that's just kind of the basic explanation when it comes to the graph. In previous videos, I went kind of more in depth. However, even besides that, when I take a look at the graph, my point of view is that it is this project, to me at least, that kind of showcases how it is not something that is often forgotten about, because even despite, again, GRT having this pullback, so to speak, when we take a look at the current market cap of GRT, it's around 700 million, right? And my kind of viewpoint is this. I mean, back in 2023, the market cap of GRT at one point was around that $740 million range. And then soon after that, the market cap went to over 4 billion. Now, again, it was a different time back then in terms of the sentiment when it comes to altcoins. But if we take a look at it, okay, even if we, let's say, don't think about what happened basically near the end of 2023, leading up all the way until kind of Q1 of 2024, if we take a look at just, again, less than a year ago, back in 2024, the market cap was even at one point around 3 billion. So it's over 4 times the current market cap right now. Now, again, it was a different time in terms of the altcoin space, but really, I don't think that was even an altcoin season. And that was less than a year ago, in my perspective. So I think from the times that I saw, GRT kind of did what it did in, let's say, December of 2024, back in also in March of 2024, and also even all the way back in 2021, I feel like at times GRT has kind of showcased to me a little bit that it wasn't necessarily forgotten about during a time when there was, let's say, better sentiment when it comes to altcoins. So I just haven't given up when it comes to GRT. And also, the way to take a look at it is that in terms of the amount of holders, it's still holding up pretty okay as well. I like the listings when it comes to GRT. And also, not to mention, when I take a look at, the graph, what I like about it is that if we take a look at, for instance, right, there is this kind of aspect to it which I think makes it a little bit more fascinating. Like, if we, let's say, take a look at how the graph is currently being utilized by popular Ethereum decentralized applications like Curve and Uniswap, that's pretty cool in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, the adoption when it comes to the graph is not the best, but I think it's not bad either. Not to mention, if I take a look at the graph as well, what I like about it is that it fits in this kind of unique position where it's focused on a sector that isn't necessarily, I think, too much talked about, but it is still, I think, has that utility aspect. Like, for instance, I'm just going to give an example, right? If I want to believe in a project within this space, my automatic reaction isn't thinking about, oh, I'm going to believe in a project that is trying to improve the efficiency of decentralized applications, generally speaking. Like, I'm not thinking about that. But then if I actually take a look at the graph, it actually has a use case, right? And the more I take a look at it, the more I think about, okay, again, there's many decentralized applications out there. Won't some of them want to, increase the efficiency of it, like in terms of the developers? So yeah, I think that is something like the graph. It's something more a little bit, I think, specialized where It's not generally speaking something that's often talked about. But then it's kind of like, for me at least, an acquired sort of taste, right? It is something that is I have to look into. It's not something just I can take a look at and be like, oh, it's cool. No, I feel like I have to actually take a look at it. But the more I take a look at it, the more I kind of understand it, the more I realize what it's actually trying to do. So it's kind of like that. It's more so of an acquired taste, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my point of view. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, by the way, but this is just my perspective. And if I think about it as well, when it comes to projects that are trying to help increase the efficiency of decentralized applications, what do I often think about? I'm not thinking about 10, 20, or 30 different projects, right? I'm pretty much currently thinking about the graph. Like, it's not this market sector that has a bunch of competition in my perspective. Like, if I take a look at other market sectors out there, there's a lot in terms of the competition. There might be 20, 30, 40. I mean, there's a lot. But in this case, it's like just pretty much I think about the graph, and that's kind of about it. So, yeah, I mean, for me at least, my point of view is that when it comes to something like this, I just haven't given up just because I kind of like the whole vibe overall. With the market sector that it's focused on, I think arguably it is the most popular, so I just haven't given up. Now, I think that when it comes to GRT as well, people like to say, oh, it's done not good whatsoever, but really in the grand scheme of things, despite the big pullback, we've seen like these moments before. Again, like I mentioned earlier on in the video, we saw it back in 2023. We saw it also back in 2022, like after that pullback from that, altcoin season, right? So we've already seen GRT kind of reach this multiple times, and actually, we've seen at those moments the recovery it has done after that. Now, again, historical performance doesn't guarantee future performance, but personally for me, my point of view is that I just haven't given up because I don't think I've seen an altcoin season during this cycle. When it comes to, let's say, hypothetically, the idea of $2, it is again around a 30x from here, and market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be around 21 billion. Like, that's not a groundbreaking figure. Like, that's not a figure that's going to be breaking any records or something like that. Like, it's not such a outlandish thing, hypothetically, maybe in my perception. So this is why I just still am holding GRT. I haven't given up, and I still like the fundamentals. Granted, again, it hasn't been doing the best, but you know what? Historically, I've seen that GRT has made recoveries at moments when the price wasn't doing the best at one point, and especially around that $700 million range in terms of market cap. And will we see an altcoin season during the cycle? I mean, I can't control that, right? I mean, no matter how much I am a fan of a project, like, I can't control it. So the only thing I can do is stay patient, hold, and I just wait. That's it. It's like, for instance, let's say I watch a NFL game. Like, no matter how much I like a certain team, like, I can't make them win, right? I mean, all I can do is just be a fan, and that's pretty much about it. That's the way to take a look at this as well. All I'm doing is just dollar cost averaging once a month, and that's pretty much about it, and just staying patient beyond that. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but that's just personally what I'm doing. At this point, I can just stay patient, and I'm going to be holding. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you all have a nice day. I want to say thank you for watching. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.